Welcome back to the World Revolution News. My name is Thomas Jefferson and today is November 4th, 2011. We decided, since the spotlight is on the powers that be, as they try to continue the juggling of their banking cartel in France today, to instead cover the Ukraine protests that took place yesterday in Eastern Europe. While worldwide protests began almost a year ago, the old Soviet Union has been very subtle, maybe since they had a revolution just 20 years ago, that they may be sitting on the sidelines for a reason. Well, at least until now. Here is Emily Pankhurst with more.
Yesterday in Ukraine, several veterans of the Soviet Afgan War, along with people evacuated from the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, clashed with riot police outside the parliament yesterday, when they rallied against plans to cut payouts and subsidies. The more than 2,000 protesters also included hundreds of small and medium-sized business owners, who together broke through a metal gate and tried to enter the parliament. They were held up by police who had created a wall of officers. On Tuesday, about 1,000 Ukrainian Chernobyl victims tried to storm parliament in Kyiv, and broke down the metal barrier the first time around. Then, in response of the heat, Ukraine's President, Viktor Yanukovych, on Wednesday threw blame and challenged, at the Prime Minister, Mykola Azarov, to get people's trust, or resign. Yanukovych then quickly announced the dismissal of 2 regional governors, and threatened the rest of his staff to improve their performance in the coming weeks. The former communist Soviet Republic is trying to cut budget spending under a pledge made last year, to regain access to a $15 billion international monetary fund program. Not surprisingly, its austerity plans, like the rest of the world, have run into growing public opposition. Ukraine's parliament is still considering a bill that would allow the government to reduce payouts and subsidies. The IMF is in Kyiv for talks with the government, and sources close to the talks say that the IMF is likely to walk out this week, without agreeing to disburse further credit under the $15 billion bailout program. Ukrainian law currently places people who fought for the Soviet Union in the 10-year Afghanistan war, and people affected in the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear power accident, in a special tax and benefits category, giving them reduced prices on most government-provided services, including public transportation, and electric and telephone bills. The protests, which are now beginning to become commonplace, are the result of growing outrage against the government's austerity program, as a whole. It's not just the tax and pension reforms that have been met with demonstrations. They have slowed down the implementation of other unpopular measures, such as raising natural gas prices for households in Ukraine.
As we now welcome members of the old Soviet bloc to the table, we start to see that no one is left out of the revolution. And one thing is becoming more and more sure: the world is waking up to the fact that it's the united banking cartel versus us, not me versus you, for we are the many, and they are the few.
Have a good weekend, everyone, and try to hang in there.